Hello, it's Ben and Peter at Gamescom 2016 for What Culture Gaming. We've just seen Prey.
Yeah.
You're our resident Prey guy. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of hype surrounding this game, but at the same time, a lot of mystery. We've only seen sort of a cinematic trailer so far at E3. What was it? What did we see?
We saw some gameplay, which was very exciting, and I think it's completely changed our thoughts about what the game might actually be. I mean, the teaser didn't reveal anything, it didn't reveal much to begin with anyway, but the gameplay I didn't expect and has given us a lot to talk about.
So from what we can gather, it's set on a massive spaceship. As you could see in the cinematic trailer, the main character seems to think that he is on Earth somewhere, in some sort of dystopian beautiful city, but then things start to unravel. His mental state is deteriorating, and it reveals that actually he's in space and something's very wrong. So what we were told, we don't know much, but what we were told is that there's some kind of human experiment to further humanity. So it looks like they're in space somewhere, something's gone wrong, aliens are on the ship, and that's where it kicked in for us.
It had, to me, a kind of a bit of a Dead Space kind of feel. Obviously not as kind of gory and horror-like, but that kind of mysterious. You seem to be maybe on your own on the ship, or certainly what we saw. There were no other human beings there. But also, we both got a very Bioshock kind of vibe from it, didn't we? I noticed that the UI on looting a body was almost identical, for one thing. But even just, in a more general sense, you're in a kind of dilapidated, what was probably once a great marvel of technology and now is kind of falling apart on your own, scary things around every corner, and there are sort of powers to be had.
You can absolutely tell that it's developed by Arcane Studios, the same people who are doing Dishonored 2 and Dishonored 1, of course. You have powers, you have weapons. You start with a wrench, which you made a note of. You thought that was quite interesting?
Well, I mean, I played Prey 1, which is why I'm apparently the go-to Prey guy for What Culture. And this doesn't seem to be linked to that whatsoever, but one of the first shots we saw was he had a monkey wrench, and I was like, oh, that was the first weapon you had in Prey, the original Prey. Right. Maybe that's a thing, but I think it's just a reasonably common melee weapon in any game, and there was no kind of echo there whatsoever.
So the aliens are running around the ship. We saw a few different types. The first one that was introduced was a mimic that can turn into anything pretty much. So it was sort of like, it was a bin or something, and then it just erupted into sort of a weird, all the aliens looked like dark shadows in a way that just sprinted off. And then he knew that there was a mimic somewhere, so he had to be careful, and it could have turned into anything else, could be hiding anything else. And I thought it was really interesting that they then gave him a gun, and the guy who was commentating over the gameplay session said that guns are a good way to solve problems in Prey, but ammo is scarce. And the guy was then forced to use the gun to fire at inanimate objects to try and get this mimic to run out, and I thought that would add a really cool dynamic to surviving and ammo conservation and things like that.
That's the kind of thing I'm talking about in as much as it's like Dead Space. It's the paranoia, I think. The fact that any inanimate object could just be an alien waiting to jump out and attack you. It's scary, and the Bioshock link is that there are guns, but ammo is scarce, and it's down to you to use, I guess, your wrench. Maybe there'll be other melee weapons and the powers. So you mentioned the mimic. One of the things that they said is, oh, well, it's only fair that you should be able to take some of the powers from the aliens, and you do indeed get the opportunity to become a mimic of your own, which can be used in some amazing ways.
Yes. We saw, for example, in terms of problem solving, and there's a couple of weapons that let you do this as well, we'll talk about in a second, but he used the mimic power to become a teacup to roll through the sort of slit on a, as you described it earlier when we were talking about it, as a postal office kind of thing.
A little kind of post your package.
You put your thing under the window. So he rolled through that, then unmimicked, pressed a button or grabbed some equipment or that kind of stuff. But it looks like combinations of powers are going to be really important, just like Dishonored 2. There was a bit where he became, I think, just a grenade, just because it was a circular thing, a sphere that he could roll along the floor, used it as stealth to get past a load of enemies, and then he used sort of a propulsion shockwave power to jettison himself up onto a ledge and then unmimic. So he managed to get past all those enemies, which was really clever.
It's like this sort of outward kinetic sort of force, and he just did it on the ground where he was sitting and leapt up onto the shelf that may otherwise be unreachable, although there are other ways to climb up and down walls.
Yes. Absolutely. The glue gun being one of them.
The glue gun looks amazing. They showed us 3 different ways to use the glue gun. Number one, as you might expect, you can blast it all over an alien, turn them solid, dead.
Just kick him.
And kick him. Yeah, that was fun. To be expected. Well, a glue gun, that's what's going to happen. Number 2, he got to one of those classic situations in a video game where you're at a corridor and oh no, there's fire coming out of the pipe.
Absolute nightmare.
Yeah, it happens all the time. There's fire coming out of the pipe. What am I going to do? Where's the valve for the gas? No, I know what I'll do. Put a blob of glue on the pipe. Just shot it really quick, simple. Fire goes away. And number 3, I was so impressed by. He had to ascend another ledge, and he just glued this ramp. He sprayed glue up the wall and walked up it and got up the ledge. So
Works, doesn't it?
when you add that kind of capability into a game, the puzzles can be on a massive scale.
Yeah, and combined with the powers as well.
Yeah.
And we saw him make some sort. There was a crafting system as well. We should point out he had a special grenade that disintegrated things,
Oh my God,
that
yeah.
dropped material, and then you could go to specific machines that lets you craft specific things in the game. One of which was this sort of, I don't know what you would call it, like an O2 pack that lets you, an anti-grav pack maybe?
Anti-grav, yeah. And again, like Dead Space, there was a moment where he left the spaceship and he went outside in zero gravity and found a sort of a hole in the side, and that was a way to get through the shuttle. As I say, I'm not saying it's lifted so much from other games that it's some kind of copycat. I think it felt quite original, despite the fact, it's just a space station. It's not a totally unique setting, but I think the aliens are interesting. They're all, so far, of that kind of shadowy texture that we saw in the teaser, but some of them are enormous. I think he called the last one a nightmare.
Yes.
And I think something Scott, who's hiding off camera, says about Bioshock is he didn't feel the big daddies were as terrifying as they should have been. If you like, tell us about big daddies, Scott.
Well, my whole thing with the big daddies in Bioshock was they just kind of sucked to fight. Like, they looked awesome, they were like the head of the cover art and all that, but when actually kind of fighting them, it was just, there was no dodge button or like anything, so you were just sort of like bashing your head off them. Same as the handymen in Bioshock Infinite. I just thought, like, for all their potential, they kind of sucked.
Whereas,
to fight.
I believe the nightmares look. See you later, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
The nightmares look like they are literally going to be one of those things where you see one and you're like, okay, I can't go down that corridor now. What am I going to do? I'm going to have to do something else. So, it looks really good.
Yeah, absolutely. So for more on Prey, for more on Gamescom 2016, keep it locked to What Culture Gaming, and thank you for watching.